Alrighty, guys, welcome in to the first D&D podcast of discussing the dungeon, not discussing the dragon. Um, they will be discussed. I guess I should unmute the players too. There we go. So this is going to be our first podcast. It's something I want to do somewhat regularly. I'm not sure. I think Tavi just died. Um, Big thump, frozen
That
webcam.
was fucking great.
I'm not gonna lie, it's 100% like she just spilled the drink onto her computer.
Yeah.
Cause it's just she's just like mid like oh
Yeah.
she might have actually just killed her computer. I'm not even kidding.
I'm a little
We might
worried.
get mobile
Who she
tabby in a
messages
minute.
First.
I don't know what happened.
I'm a little worried. I want to switch to the other screen, but at the same time, out of respect for Tavi, I don't want to blast that face to the world.
Right?
Tabby, are you with us? Can you give us a sign?
Missed that game.
Um, okay, guys, we are going to go back to the intro video for temporary technical issues while we find out what's going on with Tavi and get everything else set up.
She's technically not there right now. Like, her camera's gone.
Not for me.
Not for me.
Oh, I was gonna say for me it is. You
Yeah.
could also hide it.
Let me just do this.
You could disable it yourself.
Yeah, the
There we
only
go.
problem is now. Oh,
Oh, it's still on.
the
You
problem.
can just leave her
The
in
problem
her
if I
channel,
and the problem is if I hide her, I now have to readjust all your guys' squares too.
Well, so
So yeah, I'll have to.
Gone.
We're gonna have to figure that out here in a minute. But anyway, on that note, yeah, we're gonna go to a temporary replay of the intro video. Hang tight, guys. Leave behind you the mundane and enter into a world of magic and monsters. Here, you are not retail workers, housewives, or tradesmen. Here, you are brutal warriors, powerful wizards, and brave adventurers. You'll face all sorts of dangers, from gigantic dragons, mysterious dungeons, rotting zombies, and your careless allies Fireball. So leave behind the problems of everyday life. Gather your pencils, your paper, and your dice. Because once you sit down here, you are no longer you. You're the soul of the adventure, willing to risk it all for the good of a great story, and of course, gold. Now that you know what lays in store as I guide you through this tale, I have but 4 words left to say. Welcome to my table.
Alrighty, guys. We are going to start without Tabby. She will be rejoining us shortly. So, next screen that we go to is going to look a little weird. I'm going to have to adjust some cameras real quick, and then I'll have to adjust again once Tabby joins. Bear with me on that. We also have Baby Shrub, who is still awake. And obviously, me and Shrubette are both in here. So there might be some of that going on throughout the night. I apologize in advance. Without further ado, let's move to discussing the dungeon camera. Which doesn't look as terrible as I figured it would, honestly. We're going to move that to about like so.
What's that? Internet.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't think it works that way, Tremor.
No, only.
So we're going to go with that, and we're going to just turn that camera off for now. Alrighty. Okay, so welcome to Discussing the Dungeon. This is the first official podcast, which is going smooth.
Very well.
Yeah, super smooth. Smooth as ice.
I mean, technical difficulties are a thing, especially when you don't plan ahead and preemptively do things.
I mean, I planned a little ahead.
That, and you can't blame Tavi because apparently something popped and then her PC turned off.
Yeah, that's a little different too. And I kind of planned ahead. Like I messaged you guys yesterday. That's planning ahead for me.
Good enough. It works.
So all right. First thing I want to do is get some introductions out of the way. Your name, shout yourself out, yada yada. Talk about any current games you're in, current characters you play, and how long you've been playing D&D. We will start with this one, which is Shrubette.
Played. Oh my god, I played too many characters. Ballroom is the easiest one that you guys see me in, and I was Negra. Actually, I was Rayla.
Okay, Agent.
Ooh, what? Hi, I'm
Oh.
Agent. I'm currently not in any 5e campaigns, but I currently play Pathfinder on a Sunday with a couple of friends of mine. But I've been playing D&D for D&D type things for 6 months, maybe a year. So I'm a wee little D&D baby. But yeah, twitch.tv/agentsmartass. Find me.
X or Tabby, either one of you.
Ryan, go ahead. I just
guys.
got back.
I'm just X. I played primarily in Shrub's Foul Room campaign. Been roguing it up for him. I've been playing D&D for quite a while, a couple of years now at least. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, Tabby, you're up.
Do you have my turn? Okay. Hi guys. My name is Tavi or Octavia. I go by twitch.tv/waifu Octavia. So I've been playing D&D close to I think 5 or 6 years. And it's been a joy to have all of my characters killed so far. I have not had one that has survived, surprisingly. Who would have guessed? But thank you all for stopping by. You know, we appreciate everything that you guys do to help the community out. So we love you.
I just want to point out, Satira's never died. Just come very, very close.
She's
Okay.
been knocked out.
Satara has also been my longest running character at this point. So,
So
she's
see-
my baby.
I'm a
The
generous
charity
god.
stream doesn't count.
Yeah, I mean, God, chat was after you.
Yeah, just a bit.
So one other thing I do want to throw out there, I do have some topics, and obviously we're gonna have some back and forth between us. However, if chat is interested in it for a measly 20 deity power, you guys can suggest a topic, ask a question, yada yada yada. So if you guys have any questions, use that. We'll try to work them all in. I'm not going to promise everyone will get answered. Obviously, if you ask something inappropriate, me or one of the 4 mods that are currently present, because I have way too many mods, we'll be getting rid of those types of questions. So what I wanted to start with is D&D misconceptions, things that kind of make new players not want to join, but are things you guys noticed aren't really there. For example, the overly horny bard. I mean, everybody makes the joke, but realistically, I haven't seen too many horny bards.
Or
I think it's mostly
in-
warlocks, right?
well, warlocks, yeah, but then
With
it's
that
like the rogues
charisma?
not having parent, you know,
True,
that whole
true.
thing. Or
They need a tragic
warlocks and
backstory.
yeah, or warlocks and wizards being the depressed emo kids, like
Or rogues.
or rogues, yeah, rogues especially.
Rogues
Like
just get the
Ryan, look at
brunt of it
Ryan.
all. Let's get the short
But-
stick every time.
Wait, and he's
Um,
going, and he's spoiler alert, going warlock or mage as well.
Wizard, yep.
Wizard, yep. But one of the misconceptions because like I was 17, 18 when I first started playing, one of the first things that always deterred me was it's a guy's game. It's the guys sitting in their mom's basement playing dice rolls and that was the whole thing I got when I was growing up. So I was very nervous to play with other guys because I was a girl. And that's one of the biggest misconceptions I've had.
I definitely agree with that. I feel like there is a lot of the impression that women aren't welcome at the game. And, I mean, I can't think of a single game I ran that didn't have at least one woman at the table. So, it's definitely not the case. And if you have a DM who makes that the case, find a new DM, because that's just bullshit.
It's just wrong in general.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
grind. I wouldn't either.
You gotta have a little bit of fight. One of the other things I know with D&D is that it does take a lot of math, but I was always bad. I'm still bad at math, and I run accounting and bill payments, and that's really bad mix there. But I was always daunted by the fact that you had to do math, and then I realized calculators, and there's not as much math as you would think there would be.
And realistically, it's all pretty simple math. I mean, the highest number we pretty much ever deal with is 20 plus something.
Or damage rolls, but that's just
And I mean,
counting.
it's nice for us too because most of it is done for us,
Mm-hmm.
being that we play online.
Mhm.
But no,
It's
I can-
nice.
Yeah, I mean, especially for people who do struggle with math, it's nice.
That one makes
Uh,
me
I mean, could you imagine trying to count all those d6 once you hit level 20 rogue on your own?
Oh god. Nice.
Please, God, no.
Or meteor swarm.
Oh
Yeah.
god, yeah.
Yeah, yep.
It sounded like you were trying to say something, Trebet. What's up?
I just agreed.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we agree.
I thought it was something else. I apologize. Another misconception that I personally saw that I think is hilarious is that it's all, skinny, scrawny, sweaty nerds. I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of like the live podcasts or anything of actual Wizards of the Coast.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a single one of them that aren't fucking yoked. Like,
Yeah.
I
D&D
mean-
players are built different, okay?
yeah,
They
like,
are, they are. We are. We got to deal with that emotional trauma somehow.
yeah. And I mean, lifting those core books gets heavy. That's how you get your reps in.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I mean that. I know a bunch of people who are like, you know, the big beefy jocks who actually do enjoy playing D&D.
Mhm.
So you know, that's something else that I think is great to see, because especially back when I was in high school, it was made fun of, like, oh, you play D&D, you're just such a nerd, blah blah blah, and it's moved far beyond that nowadays.
Well, like
Yeah.
it's a cliche example, but look at the cast of Critical Role.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna
Every
bring that
single
up.
one, every single one of them is a voice actor that all do voice acting work for either video games or movies.
Yeah,
And I mean,
I
look
mean-
at Travis Willingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man is
He's big.
Well,
That is a thick
and
boy.
so back in the 80s when D&D was, first big, if you look at shows that are current now, like Stranger Things, they have, Will, I just want to play D&D, man. Just D&D. And it's like these young, nerdy, brawny kids, and I that perception of the D&D community is so far off. Like,
hmm
so far off. It's just like saying the entire Magic the Gathering community is a bunch of neckbeards that sweat and wear fedoras. It's the same thing. Like, you make that comparison where D&D are the scrawny guys and Magic's big beefy guys, but you got everything everywhere.
I feel like D&D is set for all genres, and it does. It's weird how it kind of segregates it until you actually play and get to see who's there and who actually plays and what we play like.
Mm-hmm.
And see, one thing that I love, and you guys that follow the channel have seen it a little bit, and you'll see it coming up with my next campaign I start, but it gives a common ground for multiple generations. I mean, we play with my son who's 13. There's not
Yeah.
a whole lot that realistically somebody in their late 20s, early 30s can see eye to eye with a 13-year-old. Yet when we're
Mhm.
sitting down at the table, we're all playing D&D, we all see the same thing,
I was gonna say that it's D&D is the kind of thing that you could be from all walks of life. Anybody could come and play it, and they could have a good time so long as they're open to the idea of playing with your imagination and getting creative with things.
Mm-hmm.
Not having
Exactly.
your hand held the entire time.
Exactly. So we're gonna segue into advice for newcomers. What would you guys say is something you'd tell somebody who's maybe looked into D&D and is considering it, but hasn't actually ever sat down at a table, has never even picked up their first set of dice? What's some advice you'd give them?
Just do it.
Nike.
it's harder.
All right.
It's harder than that
Not
though.
sponsored. Not
So all
sponsored.
right. So being the baby here, I feel like this question is a little more targeted towards me, but that's just my
No, you're right. You're right.
I mean, it is, but we were all beginners at one point too.
I know, but like you've all been in it for X amount of time and like that and the other thing, but like also having like social anxiety and stuff like that, like it's hard to just do it. Like
Mhm.
I've wanted to play actual like D&D for 2, 3, 4 years now, but just recently got into a subvariant. So I mean,
But
find like local shops, like card shops, is probably going to be like a sit down would probably be like the best place to do it. Other than that, just talk with your friends, see if anybody.
yeah, honestly, talking with the friends is kind of a huge thing. Oh, that's why my face looked weird. I had a blue screen on. Okay. Yeah. When Shrubette and I started, I'd wanted to play for a couple years, never found anybody who, really played. So I went out and bought the starter kit and was like, hey, I bought this. I want to play it. Who's going to sit down and play with me, or am I going to look like the weird kid playing by myself? And lo and behold, what, 5 of us total? Because
I can't-
Mike, Sue, Tony, Cassie, Adam, you. So yeah, 7 of us, not including me. 8 of us decided that that it was something fun. So we started doing stupid little one shots and massively breaking the game because I didn't understand how wondrous items worked, and I gave gauntlets of ogre strength to a level 2 halfling.
How did you do that?
I didn't understand. And
And they asked for it, so it was easier to give.
yeah, I was like, yeah, sure. You know what? Merry Christmas. Let's all have a wondrous
Sure.
item. They seem like fun. Yeah. Whew, that game got broken real quick. And you know, like Agent said, you know, finding a game store locally is definitely something I'd recommend. I know here in my hometown, every I want to say every second Thursday or something like that, they do an open table where they welcome newcomers in, do just a little simple one-shot type thing, and kind of introduce them to the game, help them understand it, help them get their feet wet, and then at the end of the night, help them find a campaign and a table. And
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's a great thing. It's a great way to see the community grow. It's something that I plan on doing here with my channel. I want to start doing the monthly one shots, which I'm going to
Mhm.
be very open to new players. As much as I love playing with my veteran players and seeing them get to test out other characters and stuff, newcomers are going to have priority, and that's just all there is to it.
Mhm.
Because I want to see more people join the community, more people, you know, get into D&D. It's a great game, and in my opinion, a good way to just kind of take a break from reality. I mean,
Mhm.
let's face
That's
it,
a big
Yes.
thing.
life sucks.
That's
Like,
interesting.
even if you've got a great life, life sucks. There's so many hardships in the average day-to-day life. So to be able to, you know, kind of forget about those troubles and become somebody else for a while and deal with magic and monsters instead of
Deal with their
bills.
troubles.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you know, and I think it's a huge bonus. And then I also want to just point out real quick, you know, somebody was complaining about not being able to find a D&D game, and they've got a campaign being custom built for them here. But you know, that'll come up in the next month or so. Look at that confused face. Yes, you, Agent.
Yeah.
I'm currently building 2 campaigns, and one of them is very focused on making sure you get a chance to play.
There you go.
The other one is going to be my new IRL one, which is going to be interesting. Some other advice I'd give newcomers: don't fall into the money pit of buying every book. I mean, it's daunting. I've been a DM for 7 years. I don't own all the books. They're fucking expensive. And I mean, that's not to say that they're not worth it to some degree. I love you, babe. She keeps looking over at me instead of the camera. It's great.
This is on my phone.
I just have to give you crap.
I mean, it's probably force of habit though, being in the same room and like
Yeah,
foreign object, like to look at the phone instead of just.
yeah.
Yeah, looking at me.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and exactly like Tremor just said, PDFs are cheap and online, and honestly, in a lot of cases, free.
Absolutely. Yeah.
There's a
So
lot of resources online.
there's a loopholed way that I was able to share the PDFs I have on my Discord. So, you know,
Yeah, it's pretty busted, by the way.
yeah. We won't go into that, but it is legal. And I've got most of the books nowadays. But as a player, and especially as a new player, the only book I would recommend getting, the only one, is the Player's Handbook, and even that, borrow from somebody. For your first few games, until you know that you're gonna like D&D, and until you know that it's something you want to stick with, borrow it. I mean, I don't think I've ever sat at a table where I've been like, oh crap, I don't have a player handbook, and nobody was like, oh yeah, here's mine. You know,
Mhm.
True.
I don't know how many people still have them, but I'm pretty sure libraries and locations
They do.
probably
yeah.
have them.
And
I know our local libraries do.
yeah, and then back to the local game shops, most of them have a store copy that's just out there for you guys to look at. And if you're joining a one shot that's in the game or in the store, they're gonna let you use it. So don't worry about, or don't be discouraged, I guess would be the way to put it, by the cost of all the core books. I mean, realistically, unless you plan on becoming a hardcore DM, most of those books will never be anything that apply to you.
Yeah.
You can get almost all the information on apps from the Play Store on your cell phone.
That
So-
too.
and
Yep.
That too. There's a lot of free resources out there.
D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
there's
So,
you up for all the characters and everything else, but then there's also other ones that'll just tell you the spells, or just tell you the monsters, or just tell you what
hmm
will do.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and that's
You have to download all three of them so you can, mix and match the info.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, even with having to download all three apps, it's not a huge deal in my opinion.
That's
And then, with that being said too, that's the other nice thing about D&D getting as much popularity as it has recently is there's a lot more of that stuff coming about. I mean, even just the 7 years ago when we started, there was hardly anything app-wise that related to D&D.
Yeah, not
You
at
know,
all.
Nowadays, I mean, there's everything from dice rollers to, like Chevette said, the character builders, bestiaries for the monster manual, spell lists. I mean,
there's
you
plenty
name
of
it, they've got it.
Pre-built games that you could do, pre-built one-shot,
Ooh, sorry for
free
smoking weed.
online that people from the community just built, and they said, "Here, do you guys want
Have
to play
fun.
this? Have fun."
Exactly.
Also, the Reddit
Yeah.
was where I got most of my info before I got the books, like 6 years ago, 5 years ago. So it was
Yep.
great to have Reddit as a resource.
And then I'm gonna throw this out there to beginner DMs: Google. Just straight up, if you need to use a monster and you don't have access to the monster manual or Volvo's Guide to Monsters, whatever, type in the name of the monster and put stat block. 9 times out of 10, there's a picture with the whole stat block right there for you. You don't even need the books. I mean, it's there. That being said, if you're a player and you Google that to find out weaknesses when your DM throws a monster at you, you deserve to be eaten by a dragon IRL.
So
like the Komodo
fair.
dragon.
No,
One
no,
big thing I
a
wanted to
real
talk
dragon
about-
needs to come to life and eat you.
True. One big thing I wanted to say for new players, it's good to put thought into your build, but there is such a thing as overthinking it. You're going there to have fun. Don't spend all your time trying to min-max your character.
Mhm.
Go with the flow of it, see how the character feels and what you want more of, and then build accordingly.
Yeah.
Don't have a whole plan already thought out in your head as you start to play.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. That being said, I also I do want to say there's nothing wrong with min-maxing a character if that's what you're into.
Yeah.
But definitely, it's not the only way to play. And remember, D&D is not a game you win. You can't win or lose at D&D. So it doesn't matter if you did the most damage to the monster. Cool, that makes you feel good. That makes you feel good by all means. But that doesn't necessarily mean you're having more fun or doing a better job than the character who did 0 damage to the monster but ran around the entire time helping his friends with, side actions
Heals and
or
buffs
healing or
and-
yeah.
Yep.
Support your healers.
Yeah.
Support your healers.
And then
True.
with that, I'm going to use that to segue into some classes here. A big thing that I hate is everybody's like, "Oh, I don't want to play a cleric. They're just a heal bot." No.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
Clerics
There
are
is
You
le-
don't
much
fuck
more to
with.
them.
You don't fuck
Yeah.
with clerics.
Clerics
man.
are legitimately one of the toughest classes to go up against. I
Oh, yeah.
legitimately feel like clerics are the most unbalanced class out of the core handbook by far.
Well, because they
Mhm.
they can have warhammers and stuff, can they not?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you can
And shields and
At
they
level-
can be beefy.
at level 1 you can have martial weapons, full self heal, and have a level 1 spell that does a 3d10 damage.
Yeah, that's
Also,
bonkers.
don't
Like-
forget there's Death Domain clerics too. They're
Yep.
OP as all get
Yeah.
out.
I mean, most domains have something that makes them great, you know? And then
Mhm.
on the entire other side of that, you don't have to be a cleric to be a healer. I
Mhm.
honestly, I came
Paladins-
across, well, even beyond that, I came across a TikTok the other day that blew my mind. I need to put it in the Discord. I meant to. This guy built a thief rogue healer. Yeah,
What?
You have my attention.
No funny
he,
ideas. No
he went
funny
he went human variant. So at level 1 he got to pick a feat and he took the healer feat, which means you can use your action to use a healer's kit to heal 1d6 to a party member.
Uh-huh.
Oh
Okay.
my.
Put his
Wow.
expertise into medicine checks. So now he auto successes that 1d6 every time. He's gonna have a high enough medicine check to pass it. With sneak, disengage, and uncanny dodge, he's able to move to wounded party members without himself becoming targeted. Depending on how your DM is willing to flavor it, and me personally, I would totally go for this. You can apply sneak attack rolls to that healing because it is a melee action, which is technically what sneak attack says.
Sneak attack triggers for.
That's interesting.
I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many cool little things, and then as you level up in rogues, you get what is it? A thief gets fast movement or fast hand, something like that, where you can now do using objects that would commonly take an action can now be done as a bonus action, which means now that rogue can bonus action heal you with a med kit, bonus action serve you a healing potion. I mean, this build was crazy, and it's a rogue, like no
Yep.
magic, no nothing, but he's got the same healing output as damn near a cleric.
Wild.
That's impressive, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
Why is
I wouldn't
Okat
have
always
ever
down
thought
then?
about that.
that's because Okat is still wearing cloth for some reason.
True.
He's a life domain cleric. He literally came level 1 prepared to wear chainmail and is still in cloth.
I think I have a set of human chainmail. I should just.
He's tiefling, but
He,
Well, would he be?
He can wear
He
it.
could fit it,
It's
yeah.
medium sized.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
can
we
wear
still
it.
have those dragon scales, don't we?
yeah, and that's what he's waiting for.
Oh, okay.
But it's just like, yeah. And then, yeah, as Tremor just pointed out, you can learn to make potions. I mean, X is working on that. Actually, I think X, Grind, and Ivy, right? Are all three working on alchemy?
Jess.
Yeah, I
Was
think.
it Jess? I knew. I,
It's Jess.
I
Yeah,
know
it was
somebody
Jess.
else.
I think Grind's primarily focusing on poisoner kit,
Mm-hmm. Grind's been focusing on poisons a lot more.
Yeah.
which is weird since I'm the rogue, but I'm okay with it. Yeah,
least
custom
you know
made
I
what
mean,
poisons.
you're also a wizard, so
Yeah,
Let the druid do druid.
But yeah, I mean, there's so many ways to break the norm for the classes, and for people to hate on the cleric because they're nothing but a heal bot, it bugs the hell out of me because they are so much
Mhm.
more than that. And then yes, as Tremor, as you just pointed out, you don't need a heal bot.
Yeah.
It realistically, like in combat, healing should be a fairly rare thing, to be 100% honest.
unless people are damn near dead or dead.
Yeah. Realistically, most healing in 5th edition should be happening over short rests, which is why I will say it is really nice when you have a bard in the party because of that Song of Rest. It's a massively overlooked feature that the bards get, but if you're in a party that is really on top of taking those short rests when they can fit them in,
Mm-hmm.
that's an extra, I think at level 3 it's 2d6 hit die back to you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it can recover that health really fast. So it's really nice to have Bard. And that's one thing I like about the classes in D&D. As we've said, clerics are definitely a little overpowered, but every class has something unique that makes it very useful for different mechanics. I mean, even just the basic fighter has certain mechanics in there that make them unique, make them helpful, and really shine in certain situations.
Well, they can effectively be a better ranger than a ranger.
I
No,
mean,
and
Rangers do not. I made this mistake as my first ever character. Rangers does not mean good with bow.
Yep.
So yes, and that's kind of like full circle to the misconception thing.
mhm.
And everybody, like, you know, they play a ranger and they're like, oh, he's useless, I don't like this class. So rangers are really good at travel. And then that's one thing you have to think about with rangers, is that if we focus more on like the travel aspect of D&D, rangers would be
One of the best, yeah.
They're like
And
forward
they're-
scouts.
I don't know how it is like completely in 5e, but in Pathfinder, Rangers are also good with animals, kind of like druids are.
Mhm.
hmm
So they have animal companions and shit like
Yeah.
that, and they're also good at tracking, hunting. So like they're like the hunter-gatherer of the group, and like,
Mhm.
oh
Yeah.
hey, we don't have any food rations and we need food.
Survival.
I'm gonna go spend 2 hours in the forest hunting, and DM's like, oh hey, yeah, give me this.
Yep.
And then you come back with this much food.
Yeah.
And that's when
So it's a great character to start a newbie player with, like
Mhm.
especially doesn't know if they really want to get into it or doesn't understand the aspect of imagination or what they're doing in it. I feel like the was the best one to put all the newbie players that just were like on the edge
Mhm.
about anything, because then it gave
Yeah.
them a chance to play a player and it's more grounded to them or like real life, because it's regular shit that you do that we all are used to, where you know other people are throwing fireballs and they're like, I can't grab my mind on the fireball, but I know how to use a bow or go hunting. And so
Mhm.
that's the best way to bring a newbie player in.
yeah.
Mhm.
And yeah, Tremor, you do have a point there too. D&D has 3 aspects: combat, roleplay, and exploration. And yeah, rangers are way better at the exploration. But
Yep.
I agree with you there, Shrebet. Rangers are a great first class for players because, as you guys have already said, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to use a bow. You can be up front in the fight with a ranger. So you can do ranged combat, you can do melee combat, and though they don't have a lot of spells, they do have access to some spells, so you get to learn a
Mhm.
little bit of that school of magic side of things.
Mhm.
And it can help out a lot.
It's like a good introductory course to a lot of the different aspects
Yeah.
of classes.
Exactly.
Easy.
And then like Agent was saying, the hunter-gatherer aspect, honestly, is something that a lot of DMs, and even me myself, overlook. We do huge days of travel, and I don't really check your guys' rations and things like that. And it's something that should be,
You
in my
should
opinion,
start-
yeah. And,
No,
and
you should not.
oh, I'm gonna. Hate to
We'll
break
be
it to you.
fine.
But
I'll
see,
make rolls for it.
but at this point, Tabby, you guys don't really have to stress. OCAT has create
No.
food and water.
Oh,
There's a
shoot,
there's a
I
lot of
Even
forgot.
then, I'm pretty
yeah.
good at scavenging.
Yeah, there's a lot
My
of
investigation's ridiculous.
there's a lot of ways around it still, but it is something that I feel like is a very underutilized aspect of D&D.
It's a very overlooked at thing. Like you can have 20 sets of rations in your character sheet and then never touch a single one the
Yep.
entire campaign. And you get to the end of the campaign and you're like, oh yeah, I had 5 pounds of rations just sitting in my bag.
Did I ever eat? I don't think I ate.
Guys, did we ever have food? Do we ever have a meal?
But
Are you
besides,
hungry? I don't
at
know.
The tavern,
Yeah.
does beer count?
Yeah, I was gonna say, how often
Yeah,
do you
fair.
actually order food at the tavern? 9 times out of 10, yeah, I'll take a round. All
I
right.
actually do.
My-
I fake ate when I met ex's girlfriend thing.
Girlfriend
Fair.
thing.
I don't know. She's something.
So a topic that I wanted to ask, what is your guys' individual favorite class to play? I know, Agent, you haven't really got to play yet, but what one are you most excited to play in your case? Go ahead, pick an order, but I want to know what your guys' favorite classes are, and specifically why.
Agent, did you want to start with who you wanted to play? Because you looked like you were about to
Yeah,
talk.
you look excited.
Well, I just didn't know if he was like asking me like right then and there, like, "Hey, give me an answer," or if he was just
No,
pointing me out because he's like, "Motherfucker."
well, it's just because
Yeah.
I know that everybody else here has gotten to play a couple different classes of 5th edition already, and you haven't
Well-
gotten that chance yet. So for you, it was more of a what when you're excited.
Character-wise, I'm pretty sure like across the board, like in Pathfinder and in D&D, I'm pretty sure they're the same class-wise.
More or less.
So currently I'm playing an Arcanist, which is a combination of a sorcerer and a wizard.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And so, I mean, that's really fun because magic is beautiful in all of its aspects, and this, that, and the other thing, because creation of objects out of thin air. But I'm going to leave my character that I'm devising for the campaign to be a secret, because I have a feeling it's going to have some nifty character arcs in it, just because of I'm putting a lot of thought into it, and I haven't done that with the other 2 characters that I've made so far. So
Fair. Tremor, see that's
in mystery.
that's the fun
That's
thing too,
kind of
Tremor.
a point.
That's the fun thing I love about D&D as well. You don't have to actually be wise to be a wizard in the game. It doesn't matter.
True.
Like you can have a real life intelligence score of 6 as long as you can roll the die and be like, yeah, my character got a 19. Your character is smart. You know?
Well, and I was gonna say, aren't wizards intelligent, not wise?
I mean, yeah, technically.
If you
But-
want to get into technicalities,
Yeah. But I mean, to the same degree, like I know people who have never even been camping, but their favorite class is druid because they like all the naturey stuff. They don't know
Yep.
shit about nature in real life, but in D&D they got it, and that's a beautiful thing.
That's the fun aspect of D&D, though. You get to explore so much.
yeah. So I know one of the characters I like playing. So I'm normally not a finger waggler. Like I soar up and
Finger
down. Fuck magic. I'm no listen. This is how
You
I
even
was,
given
like,
a bad
7
name
years
to it.
shh, 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 shh. Listen. But I always played paladins or barbarian. And paladin, I never used any of the spells that I had. Never. I was tank. Like that was what I went with, and
She used smite.
it's
Yeah.
But probably my favorite character I've ever played was actually a paladin, but that was when I was first really starting to get into like the actual spell of the paladin too. Like I kind of opened up a little bit to the finger waggling.
Like fully immersed your paladin side and actually utilized everything your paladin
Yes.
had to offer.
Because like I always wanted to be that tough, strong character that was so good. Like I played classic good paladin all the fucking time. I'm like, I am here to avenge my father, kind of thing. But definitely I do have a soft spot for paladins when I actually learned how to play them properly. So that was the big thing because they helped in so many different areas.
Mhm.
I got to
And-
play one for a brief amount of time during the charity stream, and
Mhm.
I felt very powerful.
Yeah.
I was just looking through my spell list and stuff, and I was like, wow.
Yeah.
It makes you feel confident. Like it's kind of like an IRL confidence boost for you. Like, yes, I'm playing this paladin that's strong and can do things. This is great. And that's probably why they're one of my favorites, because they're always like the basic, you think of them as the tank, but they're so much more than that. And I love paladin
Mhm.
so much. Not to get soft or anything, I'm
X Georgia. When do you guys want to tell us what
Do you
your
want to
favorite
go?
is?
No, go ahead. You go first.
Okay, I mean, Rogue. It's gotta be hands down.
Of course. You are
Um,
literally a rogue, though.
I mean, just the aspect of being able to enter a room where you know there's like 6 enemies completely silent. I mean, so long as the dice gods allow it, completely silently and gather all of that information, go back to your team and be like, yeah, no, we're not.
We ain't doing
Lock the
this,
door.
Chief.
That room, no,
Block
we
it.
close it and don't go there.
Like there's 3 Cyclops in there. I don't know if you want to deal with that or not, but yeah, no, just the potential that they have in order to either deal massive amounts of damage with their sneak attack comboed with, if you want to use like an explosive tip bolt or something, or if you have a dagger that you have enchanted.
Or if you
Um,
somehow have advantage while firing a ballista or catapult.
Yeah,
Just
that'll
saying.
do
Or whatever.
it.
Anytime you have advantage, man.
It's massive. Or you don't even have to technically have advantage because I mean, if one of your teammates are fighting them, boom, sneak
Yeah.
attack damage.
Ooh, Blue
So
Nova, I am sorry to hear about that. Character deaths
Yeah.
always suck.
Oh.
Sorry, continue, Hex.
No, yeah, I think it's just their versatility with, having, if you wanted to be a more magic focused mage or a magic focused rogue, you have the subclass to do that. You have, if you
Mhm.
want to go straight assassin, or if you want to be, sneaky beaky, however you want to play it, rogues tend to work pretty well for most things.
Mhm.
So I think the adaptability of them is really nice.
I can agree with that. Go ahead, Blue. Yeah, no, rogues are nice, and I mean having the expertise and
Yep.
the extra skills that you get. I mean, you don't get quite as many as a bard does per se, but you still get quite a few, and you get that expertise, and it makes it to where if you're not trying to be a jack of all trades and you're trying to kind of be more specific on what you want to be good at, you can make yourself really good in those certain things.
Mhm.
Yeah. 100%. No, that's what I like about them.
Yeah.
They're very adaptable. And I
Uh,
mean, brutish.
And you don't relate to them in any possible
Yeah,
way.
you don't understand them. You
Yeah.
know, Well, it's a rogue thing. You wouldn't get it.
Okay.
And Shrubette, you are last up. What is your favorite class?
I have a hard time because my favorite class has got to be the druid, but I only play the druid to be me. And whenever I want to play the not me, the person that I want to just not be, I play the bard. And I can't help it, but I think they're both my favorite. But
That's
it's,
fair.
I don't know. So the whole pretend thing, I'm like, well, heck yeah, I can do all the stuff that normally I'd be like, oh no, I'm too scared to do that, or oh no. And yeah, so the bard is that character, and my druid is totally just me. I want to protect the trees, but I'm sorry, kind of like you said with the rogue, the druid is kind of a jack of all trades without even knowing it.
Yep.
And I don't know. I was able to be a mouse and sneak through a doorway to go check out and see what everybody was doing and be like, yeah, no, that was shit talking and it was wrong. He lied. Let's go. And I don't know. Not to mention you get like a second life like in Mario. Because you can shapeshift there and they kill you and you're like, oh, well, what's
Yep.
It's just like, oh, okay, well,
Or you
one
can
of my
turn
nine
in,
lives as a cat.
or you can turn into a pony, right, Grand?
Yeah. Try and kick over a non-existing fire barrel.
Speaking of favorite classes, Shrub,
Yeah.
what's yours?
Oh,
what's yours?
fuck, calling me out there.
The DM.
His favorite class
What's
is
your
DM.
favorite-
Yeah, honestly, it really is. Like, don't get me wrong, I love to be a player. I have a chance coming up. I don't know if the person doing it for me wants to put that out there or not, but I have a chance to be a player coming up here soon, and I'm super fucking excited about it. By the way, real quick, Blue Nova, that is a beast of a way to go out. Kudos to you.
Mhm.
Proud of that. But I honestly do love being the DM because it's so much fun for me to pick up a story that I have a very loose concept of, where I'm like, okay, here's plot point A, B, C, and D. What happens in the middle? Let them fucking decide. And I let you players just run with it, and it's always amazing because very, very rarely do you guys actually solve a problem the way that I originally thought you would, or even approach situations the way I thought you would. And in no way is that a bad thing. I love seeing the out of the box thinking and all of that. So I do truly love being a DM. I have a blast with it. It does get grueling at times. There's a lot of prep work. There's a lot that goes into it. But that being said, I'm more than happy to wear that mantle 99% of the time. For me though, if I had to pick a class to be my favorite class, hands down, wizards.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say fighter.
Nope.
I thought he was gonna say barbarian.
I
Oh.
had a feeling it was be a
Don't-
magic user.
Don't get me wrong. You know because of Brennan, which she hates because Brennan.
One for freaking paper. One of these days I will get a hold of it.
Brennan was my longest running character that I ever had. And then I brought him in as an NPC quest giver for the party. They thought he was the golden boy because why would I ever turn my beautiful character evil? And then he jumped an entire abandoned temple on the party's head and killed their favorite NPC. Because I'm a monster.
See?
Yes.
Is that when?
Just
Yeah, that was when Zulam died the first time.
Okay, yeah. When he like teleported into that circle or whatever, right?
No, what it was is Brennan had a circle of or an anti-magic field around him that the players could not get through, but Zulam could if he so chose. Zulam did not want to turn his back on the players, so he abandoned everybody. They began to fall through a pit, hit the ground pretty rough. Rocks were coming towards them, and Zulam, being a warforged and made of mostly stone and vines, arched himself over the players, taking the brunt of it and having his soul gem smashed through his chest out the other side.
I am
God, that's
Groot.
brutal. That's so fucking brutal.
but he started it out with, and the room goes black. And we're like, what the hell, did we die? And he's like, you slowly open your eyes and notice a stone sticking through. It was messed up, man.
Trauma.
I
Traumatized.
I played this scene out so well. Shrubet's alignment changed IRL. And I had to bring Zulam back because I was afraid I was working my way towards a divorce.
No, just the couch for a couple weeks.
Oh, that definitely happened.
Well,
But no, if I had to pick a favorite, it would definitely be wizards, just because all the utility spells. On top of being able to just throw out massive amounts of damage with spells like Fireball and Meteor Swarm, Power Word Kill, all that kind of stuff, there's just so many different utility spells that wizards have access to that can just, drastically change every situation. You can ask Georgia. When I was playing as Brennan, I didn't solve a single situation without magic. We had to cross a river, and everybody's like, "Oh, let's do our little athletic check and jump across these stones." And I think the DC was like 10, and I was like, "Nah, screw that. Enlarge and reduce on the stones." Nope. Enlarged the stones and made a bridge. Just walked across.
I just polymorphed and flew across.
That would work too. And then on the flip side of that, Find Familiar. It's a disposable minion. Everybody hated me for it, and you can hate on me all you want. A Found Familiar,
being a druid.
yeah, a Found Familiar is a bound Fae. They have to obey what you say. And when they die, they just go back to the Feywild. No big deal. My Raven tested everything. Oh, I had a Raven. Dude, he died every session. Every session. Oh yeah.
Wait, don't you have to spend like 10 gold to revive?
No, because it's
Ritual spell.
a 1 hour ritual spell. So as long as you have a copper brazier and something else,
As long as you have the components for it, you can do it every hour.
and they were cheap
Wow.
components. So yeah, I got to the point where we had a portal that seemed like it might take us to some forgotten realm or possibly kill us. And I was like, hey, guess what? Fly through that for me and see what happens. Puff of feathers came out the other side. I was like, all right, guys, we're not going through it.
God.
We found a thick, black tar-like substance that put off a very sulfuric smell. My bird landed in it to see how acidic it was and lost its legs, so I just left it there until the rest of it dissolved as well.
Why didn't you just kill it?
Because it was doing its own job.
Now you see why I
I was a monster to my familiar, straight up. We had to scout out rooms. We had to scout these rooms in this dungeon, so I used the channel the actions so I can see through its eyes. Well, one of the small rules in there is you can then use your familiar's line of sight to cast spells as long as you're in range from your spellcaster. So I had him walk into this room that was full of bad guys. I think there was 15 in there, something like that. And this tiny little room literally took up all the room in there. They saw my bird and I was like, fireball. The familiar didn't make it out, but neither did any of them.
Well, damn.
I mean, job well done.
I mean, it's effective. I'll give you
Yeah.
that.
It is effective, but my emotional attachment to my birds, I
had
wouldn't even let them
no
train
attachment.
a different
Well, that's the thing,
fucking
too, is-
language.
It's how you play your character. Like, you could be attached to it, or you could be completely resentful for it, so you kill it every chance you get by throwing it into hostile environments.
Shrub.
I mean, I wasn't resentful of mine. I wasn't going out of my way to kill it. I just did absolutely nothing to protect it.
That's in the same context.
Yeah. True.
I mean, maybe. But then, as chat just said, Tremor, abrogation wizards, or however the fuck you say that, I'll never pronounce it right. Deal with it.
Abjuration.
There you go. The people that are better at English than me.
The people who played Skyrim.
Yep.
Hey, I played it too, and I still can't say it. So, they've got ways to boost their armor class way up. The School of Divination gets to roll 3 d20s and then replace any d20 with those 3 rolls. You roll a nat 1, you're like, oh god, this guy just nat 20'd me. No, he nat 1 killed himself. Bye-bye. I mean, wizards just have so many crazy little ways to tweak things. And what's really funny is when I first started getting into D&D, I thought for sure I was going to be a necromancer, because playing games like Skyrim, I'd always, raise the zombie to fight with me, or, things of that nature. And to be honest, that's the least played wizard I've ever had.
It's too much work.
It
Not-
really fucking is.
Not only
though.
is it too much work, but realistically, it's underwhelming in my opinion. The skeletons and zombies their stats just are not good enough to make it worth.
Can you not res things that you recently killed?
You can, but they still take on, by rules as written, they still take on the stats of a skeleton or a zombie, which are both challenge rating 1/4 or half. Yeah.
Like not even a full.
Yeah, so it's just not worth it. And I mean, it does have things that boost it up and yada yada, but in my opinion, that is one class that needs a serious rework. Or one subclass, I guess I could say. So I know we already tied this one in with X, his favorite class being rogue and him being a rogue. And kind of the same with Georgia, with her favorite class being the druid and her being very druidic in real life. But so I guess this one's just for Tavi and Agent. If you guys were to say, or if you were given a class based on your IRL being, what class do you think you would be given?
So I've always had this conversation with my friends, and my friends were easy to figure out. Oh, you would be a monk. Oh, you would be a ranger. I've always had this issue because I think I'm very motherly, I guess, if that's the right word to use. I protect people very easily.
Agent's I gotta break out the PHP for this.
But I have always kind of preferred the arts and everything, so I always thought I would be a bard person. Especially since the voices I can do mimicry very well. And I'm very good at acting because I'm in customer service for my day job. So,
Yep. I hear you there.
yeah. But personally, I think I would be a bard. You know, bard or a paladin. And I'm gonna go back on that paladin thing again. Yeah, love paladin, and I would be a bard or a paladin for sure. I think.
Yeah, I can see it. What about you, Agent? What do you think you are?
So, I hate these questions that are always like, "What are you like?" I don't know. I can't describe myself, so I'm bad at those kind of things. But judging off of like choices I've made in like games and shit like that, and like if I'm going off of those decisions,
Mm-hmm.
I would probably either be a fighter because I love weapons and I love to work with different sorts of things. Like down in my room, I have, like X does there, a set of katanas. I also love shooting bows. Archery is a pastime. Love that. I'd probably go fighter, but I also love camping. So I mean, then there's the rangers.
Mm-hmm. Dual classing. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's always an option.
Fighter ranger is actually a common one too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So I feel like that fits you very well, Agent. Like really well.
I can see it. All right, here's one that'll kind of stump you all, I think. If you could make one change by either adding a rule, removing a rule, adding a spell, tweaking a spell, something like that to D&D as a whole, what would you change?
Wow. Okay, we're getting deep here then.
Acid ball. Acid ball. Same thing as. Yep. Same thing as fireball, but acid.
I could see that. I honestly
Scales-
that is
scales with level just like fireball does, and
that is one thing that I do have to say. I hate how most AoEs are very fire based.
Yeah.
So yeah, acid ball would be something I could definitely stand behind. What about the other three?
I don't.
you could tell I already had that one in my head because this is something I was attempting to work on with other people, but
Yeah.
Sticks in the mud.
Sticks in the acid
So-
ball.
one thing I definitely, when it comes to certain things, so some of the way spells are cast, it bothers me a little bit. I don't know why. So I think one of the things I would definitely change is there's this thing called 2-weapon fighting style.
Mhm.
That one so it pretty much is when you attack with your main hand, you can attack with your off as well.
Mhm.
The thing is, I think it should be made as like separate attacks because it's more, you don't get as much damage as I think you should get with 2-weapon because you should be fully trained with both hands equally if you're a 2-weapon fighting style. So having the offhand, there should be no offhand, in my opinion. So you should be well balanced with both. You should be able to do full damage with both instead of just the one.
I definitely agree with that, and that's something I actually do as a homebrew rule. If you can tell me a legitimate reason in your backstory as to why your character is trained in using both hands, you do not get the disadvantages that the rules as written give you for an offhand weapon. Because
I'm ambidextrous.
yeah, well, I mean, that's an easy
Hey.
one. But no, honestly, I completely agree. You know, if you're a character who is level 3 and you've been fighting with dual-handed sword, a sword in each hand the whole time, there's no way you're not going to get proficient and skilled and used to swinging that hand with your sword with your left hand.
Yeah, there's
I mean,
no.
that's your
absolute way.
training background. Like fighters, like they're gonna fight with 2 scimitars. That's
Yeah.
their
Yeah.
background. Like that's their
Yep.
training is fighting with 2
Yeah.
scimitars. Like
Mhm.
And I completely agree with that because rules as written, technically speaking, let's say you're a regular two-handed fighter that doesn't have the feat, your extra
Mhm.
attack is your offhand weapon, and it does less damage. You don't get to add your proficiency bonus to your damage
That's
roll. and
always
it's-
irritated me
yeah.
when I've done the 2-weapon fighting because there's no valid reason that it's doing considerably less damage. Like it's not even like, oh, it's 2 points less. No, it can be a lot. So and that's just not the way I imagine it. Like if you just randomly picked up another sword, okay, cool, whatever. But 2-weapon fighting specifically should be even with both hands. Should be doing just the same amount as damage with the main hand as do the offhand.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Ryan.
Or Georgia, she hasn't
It's
gotten
not,
any.
it's not just him too.
Yeah,
It's
go for it.
Trebet as well.
Go for it.
Okay, fine. Really, what I can think of that we really had a problem with was the travel time. Like traveling with horses, how low their travel time was, I thought was kind of ridiculous and felt like it was a little bit more.
Mhm.
We've ridden horses, and I feel like we've gotten further than what they said that you could get in a day of riding horses. So I don't know.
Yeah,
Didn't run
The whole time either, we ran some and walked some, whatever. So I don't know. I don't agree with that one.
yeah. I will say that in-game travel times, like the travel times that are written in the player handbook, are definitely whack.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did the math. If I remember right, in the PHB it says that a horse can go like 23 miles a day or something like that. It's something super low. And
Yeah.
I mean, we did the math. At just a basic walk, a horse can cover 40 miles in 8 hours of marching.
Yeah.
So there's just no reason for it. I do totally agree with that. The travel time is busted. So now all the pressure's on you, X.
Literally, the only thing that I have a complaint about is like low level HP die. And like as far as rules per written kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like I feel like certain classes are just like you could fart on them and they would explode.
They would just die.
Wizards.
Yeah.
Wizards.
Like I feel like wizards are what, a D6?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
They
D-
I don't think they're
D6.
D6.
or D8?
Yeah,
D6?
no, they're
They're
D6.
D8.
No, wizards
So,
are
like-
D6.
I feel like we should be giving our wizards a little bit more love early on. Like I understand, they're pretty powerful, but
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
I feel like there's other ways to balance
Like,
that.
I feel like the armor class is more important in that sense than
Yeah.
HP. So, at that point, if you might as well, like, I feel like on
Told you,
first-
Agent.
first or second level, you should have similar HP across the board, and then you just have different armor classes per your class. So, in my
I
opinion.
I can see that one. But coming from the DM's perspective, I think it is a good balance. This is why almost all of my campaigns start at level 3, however, because a goblin with one good swing can kill a wizard in one hit.
What kind
Oh,
Yeah.
wait. Is that going to be the other one too?
In yours, we will be
Uh-huh.
starting at level 3.
Okay.
Okay.
Um,
I just want to preface. My character at level 1 has an 18 AC.
that's perfectly fine. If your character gets too overpowered, they meet the dragons. I can always balance it out.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
But
Dragon with a vendetta.
like the one that marked the side of the dauntless.
At-
Hashtag
Past tense.
foreshadowing.
Past tense.
Yes,
That wood
no.
is gone.
That wood is gone. We are talking about an ancient dragon's marking spell. You think it was just that piece of wood?
It is the whole boat, and it will always come for you.
But yeah, that's why I start most of my campaigns level 3, because it is ridiculous that they are as soft as they are, but it makes sense that the book nerd can't take a hit like the trained athlete can.
Yeah.
So to say that they all have the same health, I mean, yes and no. I do get it because, like, let's face it, You know, it doesn't matter that I work a heavy active duty job all day long. I'm fairly physically fit. If I were to get stabbed in the gut by a longsword, I'm
Yeah,
dead.
It's gonna hurt. And
You know.
it doesn't matter.
But to that degree, I think of health a lot more of like a physical fight, hand-to-hand fight,
Mhm.
how much you could take in that. Somebody whose primary, adventures in the world focus on reading and book knowledge and things of that nature, yeah, they might, have some scrapes and bumps and bruises from their adventures, but they're not going to be able to stand up and take a fight like they are that guy who, is in the front of the party going toe to toe with a bear and wrestling it backwards while the party shoots it and casts fireballs past him. Just plain and simple. So I do agree the D6 for a level 1 character is brutal. The way I feel like it should be balanced, I don't think that it should necessarily change the hit die. I think level 1 characters should be 20 plus their hit die.
Yeah.
Because then no matter
For
what,
health?
yeah. So a level 1 wizard would have 26 health. A level 1 barbarian would have 32 health. It still gives them that big difference to where the tougher tougher classes are tougher, and as you level up, that gap's only going to grow. But having that extra 20 HP health pool makes it to where, even though you are just a level 1 wizard, you're not going to go out and get killed by a tabby cat. I mean, hell,
Yeah.
according to the monster manual, a basic town cat has multi-attack, can claw twice and bite once. With an average damage of 2, that means a tabby cat can kill a commoner in 1 turn.
Oh my god.
Man, the rabid cats around town.
Yeah.
They
Timmy,
must
get
be
inside. It's
doing
past 6
something.
o'clock. You know the street cats come out at this time.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel like that is definitely kind of broken.
Yeah. But I mean, so for the AC thing, I wanted to go back on that. For the AC thing, Tavi, I have a counter.
Okay.
Level 1 spell, Shield. Now, it is a level 1
Fair.
spell, and you will be consuming spell slots for it, but
But-
it is kind of like a little bit of a fix.
Yeah. No, and I actually completely forgot about that, to be honest. Like,
Yeah.
it's not the first thing, so I think of, like,
So do
basic
most
armor class.
wizards.
Also a reaction if
It's a
I'm...
reaction spell.
It is a
Yeah, I was
reaction.
gonna say.
So that's
But,
a
like-
huge advantage.
There we
And-
go. Okay, so I kind of reel that back a little
Yeah.
bit.
But again, trade-off is burning spell slots, right?
Also, level 1 mage armor.
Yep,
You know?
very true.
Oh, yeah.
And that
Very true.
lasts for 8 hours.
Usually
Um,
the wizard wakes up in the morning and right before combat starts, they're like, all right, this is the rest of the day, mage armor.
also, like Trimmer just put, technically speaking, you can get your wizard proficient in shields. A shield plus mage armor with high enough dex, your wizard can have an AC of 18.
Completely broken.
There's
Yeah.
always spells like bark skin and stuff too,
Mhm.
which I mean
So-
it's not a wizard spell, but
There's options. There's other options that come in handy, and I keep forgetting spells, man.
So and that's
Finger wagglers.
and that's the thing is that's where the trade-off is. They're, as a wizard, you're not physically strong, you're not able to take those big hits, but you have
Yep.
the utility and the tools to protect yourself. And I feel like that goes a long way.
hmm
I was really hoping to have a couple questions from the community, but so far we haven't gotten any, so we're going to continue on here. Actually, wait.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
This one's a thinker too, so
Oh,
like 'em.
great
A
thinking.
bonker?
if you guys could create and incorporate into whether it's 5th edition Pathfinder, whatever, if you could create a class, a custom class, what would the general like idea of that class be?
I have a precursor to this. Can we respin an existing class?
I'll say yes. If you want to do like a variation of a current basic class, then yeah, absolutely. I'd really like to see like a hard dedicated like summoner,
Hmm.
something that really it's
Yeah.
kind of like how a ranger has a companion, but you really get to get deep with it.
Like a find
So,
familiar
like,
that's
take
actually
a
worth
dr-
a fight.
Take a
Yes.
druid, a wizard, and a ranger, and kind of just
Put them all
Smash them
together
all
in one.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd really like to see a
Ooh.
hardcore summoner class where it's like you're not relying on spells like what is it, summon animals,
Yeah.
nature's ally or
Conjure
whatever.
animals, yeah.
conjure animals. Yeah, you don't have to rely on that because it's innate. It's part of your class. You have that ability already.
I think that would be
I'd like to
awesome.
see that.
And kind of focuses on it wouldn't all be spells because
Mhm.
you can access that as a bard. You can get all three of those spells where you can summon animals. You can also summon elementals and then summon the dead or something like that. A necromancy spell, and you can do all of that being a bard depending on which jack of trades you pick.
Hmm.
Yeah, true.
So,
So one oh sorry, Shrub.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
So
Ladies
one
first.
of the things I'm actually going to take this a little bit from Final Fantasy 14, because I feel like there's a lot of good classes there that are kind of like a blend of a few of the D&D classes, but one of them that I really want to see that I don't see very often, at least as far as I'm aware, are like the Lancers, the Dragoons. So like you have that paladin-esque feel to them, but they're almost long range. They have long weapons. So I think a hard class dedicated to that kind of weaponry, where like they're still fairly tanky and everything, but they can have that reach as well. I would love to see that.
I
That would
agree with
definitely
that.
be
They could
cool.
have some really interesting like charge techniques as well, things like that.
J4. Think of Jarvan the Four
Yep,
from
Jarvan.
League.
Mhm.
Yep. Think of exactly like that, and I think that would do so well.
It'd be really
within the
cool.
community. Yeah.
I think that would do pretty cool. So one of I've got a couple that I've tried to add before, and one of them plays off what Tremor just said: a spellcaster that uses its health pool to power its spells. I think they need to have a
Huh.
wizard-like class that is dedicated to necromancy, with a D12 hit die and Constitution as their main score, where
Yep.
Okay.
all of their spells are cast by sacrificing part of their health.
That's interesting.
Ooh.
You want to cast a level 1 spell, that's 1d4 hit die to yourself. You want to cast a level 9 spell, that's 9d4 hit die to yourself. And with that, I think that you should be able to take a temporary subtraction from your maximum hit die to have a permanently controlled zombie that is a better form than the zombie that is in the core stat book.
Companion, but
Yeah,
beefed
exactly.
up as you get beefed up.
Exactly.
Ooh,
And-
yes.
And with that as well, I feel like part of the subclass should be more of like a mass summoner where you can sacrifice, 4 hit points and summon 4 basic level 1 or challenge rating half whatever zombies. To
Now,
where
I could see a vampire being really interesting with that.
Ooh,
and that's
yes.
honestly that's something, it's not released in official books, but it's something I have access to. There's a race called the Damphir, which is a half vampire, half mortal.
That's
That
the
is-
thing in Pathfinder.
It is a fun race to play.
Yeah, it's one of the core races in Pathfinder.
Yeah.
That sounds so cool.
Or even something like Krusk's Bite, because you healed
That's-
from that, did you
Yeah,
not?
and that is a feature that the Damphir have.
Aha.
And what I like is they balanced it out really well. The Damphir have the bite where they heal. You deal 1d6 plus your strength, and you regain damage done, I think is what it is.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Till the
But-
Dampier doesn't spec into strength and then they fuck themselves.
Correct.
Not saying that's happened in my game or anything.
No, totally not. Totally not.
But yeah, they also can have spider walk, where they can walk on the walls and stuff, which
Yes.
is
Yep.
huge.
Spider climb. Yeah.
Or spider climb, yeah. But if you have that, you have to take sunlight sensitivity. So now any ability check you make in direct sunlight is made with disadvantage.
Okay.
So
Nice.
there's the big payoff, or crosses back and forth.
Mhm.
Another class, and these next two I've actually got full classes built, and I should probably talk to all three of you or all four of you guys about test playing some of them for me to see how they
Mhm.
balance out. But I made one called the Watchdog. It is kind of a mix between a fighter and a barbarian, but it is focused on all sorts of defensive spells and abilities to not only protect itself but party members, basically creating a true and proper tank for D&D.
Oh. Okay.
They have compelled duel as a passive
Mhm.
ability. Instead of a spell, instead of burning a level 2 spell slot, it's something they get to do
Just by aggroing something.
a certain number of times depending on what level you are. I made a subclass for it that is designed around deflecting magic abilities and
Oh wow.
becoming magically resistant, things like that. Wow.
Wow.
And I think it'd be nice because in a lot of people that especially are newer to D&D, they try to go with that MMO party build of tank, DPS, healer.
I'm guilty of that 100%.
Yeah, I mean, so am I, by all
I
means.
wish my group would do that.
But it sucks because certain classes are good tanky classes, but with no way to really control aggro. If your DM wants, I mean, I hardly ever touch the spellcasters in the back of the field. But if I wanted to, nothing's stopping me.
No, not at all.
My barbarian, that bandit that runs up on you guys, could be like, fuck your 3 opportunity attacks. I'm gonna kill this squishy back here.
Yep.
And yeah, you guys get the free hit on him as he goes by, but a barbarian don't care about that 1d6 damage. Like, and now he's punching your wizard in the face with a great axe. Yeah, that wizard ain't staying up for long,
If any of them has Sentinel, though, they could stop that.
This is true. There are some certain abilities, like I said, pointed out, paladins and I think clerics get compelled duel as a second level spell, where if you don't focus on them, you have to make a wisdom save or you lose your attack.
And the thing is, you would also have to focus on, like, you have to think about those things. Most people in the brunt of the moment don't think about that.
Mhm.
That's the thing. So fuck your squishies in the back.
And like Trimmer just said, it just takes one smart NPC to shout, "Get the one in the dress," to put the spellcaster down.
Yep.
So that's one that I did, and then one that I threw out there that I kind of came up with it on a whim and then ran with it really hard, and it actually came out to be a pretty cool looking class, is a shaman. And I'm talking like a World of Warcraft style shaman. He's got totems that he has to hand carve and produce that have a certain level of health. They all have different functions. Depending on what way you spec, you can either be more of a melee fighter, more of a healer, or more of a elemental wizardish type fighter. And I think that it brings a cool mix that's almost there with the druid, but it'd kind of be like the complement to the druid. The paladins have the clerics, the fighters have the rangers, the wizards have the sorcerers. A lot of the classes have another one that's similar but gives the whole feel a different flavor. And I feel like the druid is a very standalone in the sense that there's nothing else that's really nature based. And that was something that I kind of ran with this one. So sorry, Agent, I just spat out 3 of them before you got to do yours. But
You're good. It actually gave me more time to think, and like I really kind of stewed on it because like a lot of classes, like the main core classes, are like already all there, and like I personally, I wouldn't want to add any, but I would just want to revamp the Necro. just because like you just kill a troll and you're like, oh cool, I'm a 9th level necromancer, I should be able to raise this up and have it follow me for the next X amount of hours and still have it be kind of itself, but maybe a little bit weaker because it is technically dead.
Dead,
So I mean,
Yeah. I'd say that should vary depending on how you killed it and how much damage it really kind of sustained.
exactly.
throughout
You
the
know, that's 100%. Like, so like say it just got like the shit beat out of it and like stabbed a bunch of times, like it's still going to be able to walk. Its muscles are still going to function. Like it just doesn't have blood, but you have magic holding it up, so it doesn't need that.
But yeah,
Exactly.
if you're like Artificer threw a black powder keg at it and then exploded
Exactly,
it,
and like
probably
or your
can't raise that from
wizard
the
hit
dead.
it with disintegrate or fucking
Yeah.
meteor storm. Like
It's missing half of its
it's going to be a
body.
little harder to
Exactly, yeah.
resurrect it, but like if it's killed just the old-fashioned way, sword combat, hit with a little bit of magic here and there, but overall still in whole, you should be able to resurrect those bigger creatures as a payoff.
I agree.
Fully agree. Yeah. Honestly, like I mean, I brought that up earlier too. Yeah, the Necromancer rules as written. You know, everybody talks about how they had to revamp the Ranger because it was underwhelming.
Yep.
I've been playing D&D for 7 years. I literally know of one person who ran a rules as written Necromancer Wizard. Out of all that time, only one, you know? And
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm not saying I've played with everybody by any means, but over that time, you know, to only have one single person play that subclass, it shows you that that subclass is really not an optimal subclass.
Yeah, it's something most people don't want.
Yeah.
Or don't enjoy, at least. I
Because
mean, like,
you look
even
at it,
me
you're
playing
like, oh,
Ranger.
cool, Necromancer, and then you like start reading it like you said earlier, and you're like,
Oh,
that's lame.
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
So, Paladin, thank you for coming in, and I'm kind of curious as to how exactly you turned into a Pokemon Master. So, go ahead and throw that out there. Oh, there we go. Animal friendship.
Yo,
I mean, yeah,
that is
That-
actually
that would work.
cool.
that would definitely do some
Ryan, I
work.
found your next build. I found your next build.
So, you know, I'm gonna circle back to the rules and things that we could change. I want to point out a few things that players probably don't really realize because they're not commonly used things, and see if you guys feel like it's well balanced or if it's wrong. So, rules is written. If you say that you are doing non-lethal damage when attacking with a melee strike, you can knock your opponent out if it drops them to 0. They'd be unconscious rather than dead. Rules as written, no spell period can have this effect. How do
I
you guys...
disagree with period.
Yeah.
I feel there should be exceptions. Certain spells.
You can't
Obvi-
fireball an enemy and say, "Oh well, I'm just fireballing his feet so that I
Exactly.
don't
Yeah, no, that's
kill
not-
him."
yeah.
kill him."
I agree with
But,
that
like,
one.
Something like
Like Magic Missile, where it's a force impact.
Yeah.
You can knock somebody
and
out with
you
an
could
impact.
you could be like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm only gonna shoot one, or I'm only gonna hit him in non-lethal spots. Like,
yeah. If they specify it beforehand and they give a good enough creative reason, I think
I
any
think
sort
it's
of weapon
fast.
or well, not any spell, because like power word kill, but I don't want to kill him. But
Disintegrate, but in a friendly way.
Knockout.
disintegrate his shoes.
yeah, to scare him.
But I agree with X, because like obviously there's certain things like a freezing spell, you know, you only freeze them from the legs down kind of
Yeah.
thing. That'll knock them out. That's pure ice shock right there. But I do not think it should, like, I again, if they come up with a
Okay, there we go. And we're back with the four of us. Shrubette will probably be back the next time we do another one of these. Hopefully with a better setup. I was planning on getting the laptop set up for her tonight, and I had side work after my regular work, so I just did not have time to get everything done. And we also lost our babysitter for Baby Shrub, so got a little hectic tonight anyway. But yeah, we plan on doing this at least once a month. I'm kind of hoping for twice a month. And anyway, she will be joining us with our next one again. As for other guests, I don't know who will be joining us there yet, but we will find that out when we find that out.
It's a surprise for all of us.
Yeah,
Yay!
me included. That being said, I do want to send another thank you to you guys for joining me on this.
Of course.
You know, these guys are, well, this one and that one are current players. That one is going to be future player. And all three of them were part of my charity stream. If you guys saw that, that was a whole lot of fun. Another event
So
that
much
is going
fun.
to be
Especially
happening.
the last boss fight.
Yeah.
I'm so mad, Ryan. Okay.
It's something else that will be happening again, probably every year. To be honest, I had so much fun doing that. It went so much better than I expected. It was, to be honest, this whole streaming thing from the start has gone way better than I ever expected. You know,
You're welcome.
yeah, 100%. Between X and Grind, they were the pushers that started this channel, and I swear every time I get in front of this webcam now, I'm a little more hyped for the next time I'm going to be back. Which I feel bad because I took a lot of time off these last 2 months, unfortunately. But you
It
know,
Yeah, I mean,
happens, though.
life happens though.
Yeah,
exactly. Like shit happens. You got personal stuff. You got like
Yeah.
the vacation that you just had was nice. I bet.
Oh, dude, it
It
was.
was well needed, I
I
bet.
mean, yeah, that's the first
Oh,
vacation
God, yeah.
I've had in ever, and especially after all the fire crap. I mean,
Yep.
we had some close calls, and my body was beyond beaten. Oh, happy note though. The fires took out the truck, but the truck is alive.
Hey.
The
there
truck
you
got
go.
the trailer down there and back and is running. So,
Let's go. Progress.
yeah. Had to buy my fourth transmission. But
yeah, not fun.
this one has a warranty though, so
There you go. 4 times the charm.
yeah, let's hope. Cause boy. Alrighty, so next topic we're gonna talk about is your guys' first character and the inspiration behind your first character. And I don't necessarily mean like, I don't want to hear the first like, oh, I played a one shot and was a bard who had this pre-gen stuff. No, the first
First
character.
character we put thought into.
Yeah.
This, that, and the other.
Yeah,
Okay.
the first character you felt an attachment to.
So I'll go ahead and start with this because mine is actually relevant to me as in general. My first character and not just like the one shotter, you know, I was playing in my first big campaign. It's actually where I got my Twitch name from. So Octavia was my paladin. I loved her very much. Think Roman centurion kind of feel. Her full name was Octavia Apollonia Aurelius.
I dig
put
it.
so much work into this character, and I love her. So she was a basis off of Bellona, which is a Roman goddess of war. So I had a very deep connection with that. Like Bellona was one of my favorite characters in Smite. You know, I love the ideals and everything, and the Roman, the SPQR stuff. I was always interested in. Like I'm a huge nerd for history, so like that was something I'm like, ooh, okay. Let me just combine my knowledge of the Roman like the factions and all of that, and to this D&D character that is fucking traumatized, first of all. But like I think I spent 4 hours writing her backstory, and then I actually drew I would have to find it, but I drew Octavia, and I just fell in love with her so much. She was me with a mix of like supernatural and everything to it, and I love her so much.
Hell yeah.
She has a place in my heart. Obviously, if I named my Twitch channel after my first
Yeah,
D&D character.
She's gotta be pretty special.
Agent,
Me
looked
too.
like you were about to say one.
I was gonna question what you said about the attachment.
Okay.
So I don't mean attachment like. How do I put it? Like,
I need to play my rogue, man. Just one time this week.
No, I know that's not what he meant. But so as far as like attachment goes, like with going off my first character, I liked it. It was really great. It really it meant a lot. Like related out of me.
mhm.
My first character was a ranger. But that's also coming from when I played Skyrim. I used a bow and I sneak attack hit everything, and I one-shot most things in Skyrim. And so then when I translated that into D&D, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be something with a bow, and I was like, ranger. Oh, they gotta be great with bows, right? No. No. I was wrong. Read. But yeah, so I was a ranger, and then I started dipping into the rogue and multi-classing, so I would do a little bit more damage. But in Pathfinder, it's very hard to get sneak attack because it's stupid.
Because it's stupid.
Okay, so in Pathfinder, advantage and disadvantage don't exist.
Mhm.
It's you get pluses and minuses to your rolls.
Mhm.
So
That's it.
So when your people are attacking something else, you don't get any bonuses as a rogue sitting in the backline trying to shoot it while you're hiding in the shadows. So I'm like, well, fuck, I have to actually try and work around this character. And eventually I was just like, I don't like this. This isn't, I'm not having fun with this. So I completely scrapped that character. They're now living happily in a city somewhere off in a faraway land. And
Aw, you retired them nice. I've never
That must be so great.
I've never done that.
now
Other days in the slag fields.
Any character that I've ever had that I no longer play is 5 feet under.
Yep. Nope.
Not
Now
even
I'm
the full 6 feet. Not even the full 6 feet.
Nope.
now I'm a little thin wood elf mage, and I cast spells and throw fireballs at ice giants.
There we go.
So, I had an extremely similar experience. I relate to Agent a lot on that because my first character was a ranger. Because I was like, I'm so cool. I get a familiar, or not a familiar, but I get a wolf eventually, and this is gonna be sick. And I guess I didn't really initially realize how much of a responsibility having to deal with another character sheet and creature is in combat and out of combat and this and that. And I tried to revisit that when I initially started playing with Shrub, because in our first little get together, I did play a ranger who had a pet wolf. But I just got so fed up with playing that character because I just felt like I was falling behind everybody else in my party, at every turn. I got so fed up that we had just scaled a mountain because there was a tomb at the top of the mountain that we had to go into.
God.
And there was a sheer cliff. It was hundreds and hundreds of feet straight down to boulders and just mountainside. And my character got into an argument with another character, and I was already fed up of my character, and my character had a mental snap and ran off the edge. And that's how I got rid of my character and just
Hell yeah.
because I got so fed up with the ranger. Because I guess a little bit important backstory is that my ranger was like the edgy, dark, brooding.
Oh,
I
okay.
sit alone, like nobody talks to me.
So what you are now?
So you literally just see yourself in every character.
Yes. Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like X as a
Yeah.
character is far more
Yeah.
open and far more like, I meme around.
Wow,
Maybe not open. Maybe not
Yeah.
open, but like
You're not open at all.
more involved.
There you
I
go.
suppose.
There we go. Okay. I
Whereas
can
this
agree
one
with
was
that.
like combat. I would always split from the party. Like it was, never grouping.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was the first character, and then I think the first character that I really, really, really got a connection to was in my Cyberpunk campaign. That was fun. We had a
Rest
really
in
good
peace,
time with that one.
Cyberpunk.
Yep,
That
I don't
sounds
play
like
it
so
anymore.
much fun.
It was great for the little bit of time that we had a really, really good time with it, and I genuinely did enjoy the world that our DM built for us and that we got to goof around in for like a while.
See, I don't know that I could ever run a cyberpunk one, but I am interested in running a steampunk game.
That could be. I would be very interested in that.
It's like with the Fallout game I'm currently in. The Fallout RPG is so good. I love it, and it's a little bit different than D&D as well. Like the way you calculate damage and everything.
Mhm.
It's so much fun. But
Yeah, did you use VATS?
Can I use VATS to increase my accuracy this turn?
So, but like they just like with the classes in D&D, all these other RPGs, tabletop RPGs, they're just so I love them all. I could
Hey, thank you for the follow.
forever. Cthulhugy. Ooh. Cthulhuigi?
I wasn't even gonna try. Kudos for you for
Luigi?
trying. Kudos for trying. I just said thank you. Man, if I had to say that I had a favorite character, I guess the first character I ever really put any thought into, I guess that's what we talked about. First character I ever put any thought into was probably. It's been so long since my first character.
First one you remember.
Huh?
First one you remember.
First one I remember. The first one I remember well was probably Gilmore, which was he was a Asmir cleric.
Cool.
Okay.
And I had a homebrewed Monster Hunter backstory, and was basically just on this, divine path, so to speak, to rid the world of the big monsters that plagued the night.
Okay.
Tried really hard to be like the beacon of hope for everybody type of thing. And unfortunately, I've played him 3 different times. I've rebuilt him for 3 different campaigns with 3 different DMs, and I have yet to play him as a character with a DM that I thought was a good DM. And I hate to say that, because I don't necessarily want to say anybody's a bad DM, but their DM style, I guess, was a bad fit for me.
Mhm.
And yeah, and the first time I played him, put the thought into it, built him. We were doing, was it Mists of Pandalin or whatever, the basic starter set, which I played him during that twice now. But during the initial fight in the goblin hideout, I tried to put my shield into the ground, like bury the tip of it and kind of brace against the flood that was coming and protect one of the smaller party members. And somehow in doing that, the DM decided that the water flowing over me was too much, and in heavy plate mail I wasn't able to stand up and catch a breath, so I drowned. And
Oh wow.
yeah, it was just like, that's questionable, but you're the DM, so whatever, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah, But yeah, so he's. I feel like he's my cursed character because every time I'm like, "Ooh, I'm gonna play him," he dies to really bad DM discretion, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll just kind of leave it at that. But now I'm gonna tee off of the first character. What was your guys' favorite character?
X. No
That
cap.
doesn't
No kidding.
that doesn't narrow it down.
so
All of your
bad.
characters are named X.
No, current X. 100%.
Current. So why is that though? Why would you say that?
Especially as
so-
fast as you did. I mean, goddamn, you jumped on
Yeah.
that.
So I've played Rogue a couple of times, and I've never actually gone Arcane Trickster. I've never multi-classed, so being able to experience that with the Rogue and Wizard has been fucking awesome. And Arcane Trickster as a Rogue is easily my favorite subclass. Like it's been a fresh take on the Rogue that I kind of like got bored of, I guess.
I can
And just
see
having
it.
all the utility that I have is insane.
I
I
can
can
see it.
save everybody if I want to.
Yeah, if
Uh,
you wanted to.
X is a very versatile character, and the
Mhm.
insult comic sounds fucking great. That sounds like it'd be so much fun. I've wanted so hard to play a bard that like only spoke in rhyme, but I just
Oh
don't
my
have the
God.
dedication to do it. To be honest,
You'd
The
have to
amount of
try
thought
so
process.
hard.
yeah.
Yeah,
Like
the
your
thought
brain
Produce.
would, like you start your turn, and then you go through your whole party's turn, still thinking about what you're gonna do in your next turn.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
I just it's too much effort for me. But that is pretty awesome. Okay, Tavi, your agent. What's your guys' favorite?
Agent, do you have one?
Go for it, Tavi.
Okay. So funny enough, even though Octavia was my first, and obviously I have a deep connection with her, I have so it wasn't D&D, but it was a tabletop game nonetheless. It was from a tabletop game called Numenera, where
I've never
it's
heard of
like
that one.
It's so good. It's post-apocalyptic. It has magic, but not like it's sci-fi magic, so it's slightly
Okay.
different. So think like Firefly, stuff like that.
Okay.
So I had this character. Her name was Jocasta Nick. She was like the Kaylee of the Firefly group. Like she fixed stuff. She was the artificer, pretty much. I loved literally every single fact about her because this character I thought so deeply on her. Like she was quippy, she was sassy, she had good like comebacks, but when it came down to the wire and hard battles and stuff like that, she was always your go-to. She was also the ship's navigator, so I was in control of where the ship was going, and that was a weapon I could not let go at all.
Captain said we're heading this way, but Captain doesn't get to plot the course.
We're stopping for ice cream, damn it.
Jocasta was definitely one of those like the classic mechanic where the mentality is just like, oh, I'll fix it when I get to it. I got a list of other things to do.
I know
Like,
that shit all too
Give
well.
me your weapons.
Like,
Kind
eat
of
this
thing.
peanut butter with while staring at you.
But she was a fun character, and she didn't die like all the others did. Like I actually got a choice of how she died.
So
shit.
I do have like a real quick question to throw in there.
Uh-huh.
Not including the charity stream. What is the shortest run you've had for a character?
1 session.
Ouch.
1 session. And funny, can I go on a small tangent with this to explain?
I think Agent needs a minute for his favorite anyway, so.
I mean, not really,
Oh, okay. Well then,
but she's fine. She can go on her tangent.
okay,
It'll
go
be real quick, I promise. So this character, I set him up for failure 100%, and it wasn't even on purpose. I was trying to go for more of like, oh, I'm the weak wizard kind of thing, but watch me level up, I'll get powerful. It was actually a PvP thing that happened within the party,
Oh,
but I wasn't involved to begin with.
I'm so confused.
Yeah, listen. So I had a character. His name was Steven, Steven. And he ended up trying to break up a fight between two party members. They both ended up hitting him at the same exact time and died from one punch from each person. So I was just like, yep, okay, you're done. I'm done. We're done.
That's all bad.
That was it.
Really,
Can I go
Trevor?
home now?
All right, what was your favorite agent?
So my favorite is currently the character I'm actually building for Ballroom.
Okay.
I'm actually putting a
Preppy.
lot of time and effort into like thinking about this character and like building the backstory and like actually like using places that are in the world itself and like giving them a previous history and story to then what is just a couple weeks of before I
Up here,
come into their
wherever.
consciousness. Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's one thing I love about D&D too is like, I mean, I played a character one time that was a high elf who was 418 years old and just decided that, you know, he'd lived a decent life as basically a jack of all trades and now wanted to go party with these youngins and be an adventurer to live out his glory days. So, I mean, I built a huge backstory for him. I worked with my DM. I had contacts everywhere. I knew a guy in every fucking town
I was gonna
because
say, well, with 400 years too, like that's a lot of backstory to come up with. Like,
yeah.
Mhm.
And I mean, I that's what we did. I mean, he went everywhere, and I took some debuffs. I had a -2 to my con score because I was ancient,
Old.
older.
you know.
Yeah.
So like,
your strength probably took a negative too. Yeah.
actually, he didn't make me take a negative to the strength because I was playing a wizard, so I didn't really have strength anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But I did have by the end of the campaign, which that one lasted, I want to say a good 4 or 5 months, and we played every week. By the end of the campaign, I was starting to suffer from dementia, so I had to roll. I had to roll randomly, or I'd just forget everything.
Oh my.
That was an interesting twist.
Where the
Um,
fuck am I?
Yeah.
Why are we in a
Mid
cave?
spellcast, about to save the entire party. What?
Or
What
it's the
just-
Vietnam.
what
Who
happened?
are you?
Random,
You my grandson.
random nom flashback. Like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, all of a sudden just has stress and then fireball on the party.
Just wakes up, starts casting Finger of Death at everybody. Back up, commies! But yeah, so I mean that it was interesting having to write that much backstory. But when you do that level of backstory, it makes you fall in love with the characters. It makes them so
Yep.
much more fun.
Yeah.
And that's where I was gonna go. So a lot of times I would say that Brennan was my favorite character because he did have a fairly fleshed out backstory. He's the character I got to be a player as for the longest, and he was a lot of fun. He was a high elf wizard, you know, but my honest to god favorite was my Damphir. I played a Damphir wizard. Again, wizard's my favorite class. I'm very biased. But I wanted to throw a new twist on it. And what I did with my backstory is, you know, my mother did not know that my father was a vampire when I was conceived. When I was born, I was cast out, like, we're talking like Hunchback of Notre Dame, thrown into a well status, cast out.
Oh my god.
Because I was essentially a monster. Some lonely street urchin shit took me in, raised me until I was old enough to kind of start street urchining on myself, and then he passed away. At which point I befriended a rat, and that little rat was my pet mouse, and that was just me and him against the world for the longest time. very accurate timing for that sound. I don't know if you guys in Discord can hear that, but I have
No.
ambient sound going on for the stream, and a mouse just squeaked by.
It's great.
um,
They
but
know.
so yeah, it was just me and the mouse for a while, and then the way I actually became a wizard was one night while I was digging through trash behind a tavern. An old man came stumbling out with a dagger stuck in his chest, handed
Oh,
me his
nice.
spell book, and said, basically, take this, become the best you can be. It'll unlock more secrets than you'll know, and died. So I ran off with this random ass spell book, started slowly studying it, and found out I could actually control Arcana. Where it became
Okay.
the big kicker, as a wizard, every time you level up, you get 2 spells. Well, because I was leveling up by studying this book that was already built, my DM would pick the spells that I got when I leveled up.
Oh, shit.
And the more
Okay.
the more
Wow.
I studied the book, I could unlock a couple extra
Unlock more
spells.
spells here
Yeah.
and there.
Yeah. And it made for so much fun. It sucked. The campaign ended up dying out really early because some players ended up not being able to make it anymore, and scheduling conflicts, which is what kills most D&D
90%
parties.
of
Yeah.
campaigns.
Mhm.
So I think I only got to play him for like maybe 3 months, but I mean the fun of always wanting that family type feeling that I had with my party, but at the same time not trusting it because every single person I'd ever trusted let me down one way or another. I I bit one of my party members because they tried to fuck with my pet mouse.
Touch my mouse.
I support this.
I mean, it was so much fun as a player, and I mean, it was a blast. He was definitely hands down the favorite character I ever had to play with, and
The whole random aspect of like the spells and stuff
mhm.
would be really is really nifty because usually you're sitting there, you're looking through the spells, you're like, all right, what have
Yeah.
we been coming across? What do I think is gonna
Yeah.
come up? And you're like, all right, I'm gonna pick
Yep.
knock, so we can start opening doors because we don't have a rogue to pick the lock.
For the record, a lot of people seem to forget that knock is really loud.
Yeah.
It is.
Like,
Knock's
really
also
loud.
busted though because it unlocks anything.
However, I want to point something out, and this is dooming myself for future things, and I know. Knock does not
Cast
have
silence.
Knock does not have a vocal component to it. So you can
Mhm.
cast silence on yourself. Cast knock
Mhm.
inside the silence and it makes no noise.
Yep.
Are any of us gonna remember this?
Yep.
At X's.
Any of the
Guaranteed.
casters
will.
will.
Oh, I will.
Yeah,
I know
so
knock.
Never mind.
I know
I mean,
knock.
he's the rogue. Come on, of course he's gonna know this.
But
But
He's gonna be at a plus 23 on his stealth check, plus the silence from knock. The door is gonna open, and it's gonna not even know it's open.
well, and to go on the whole random spell thing, I think that's really cool because I feel like that's more genuine and more natural for the character because he was just dropped a spell book in his lap.
Mhm.
Like it's not like he had been studying for years previous on how to wield magic.
mhm.
Like he was just like, "Oh, I'm dying. Take this. You will learn things."
Yep.
Da, 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 da. And you're like, "What?
Yeah.
Excuse me?"
Ooh, well, I can't read this.
And that was the
Wait,
other
how?
that was
It's
the
all
other
in Braille.
thing that was the other thing that that the DM made me do was I actually had to spend certain nights studying different languages so that I
Learn
could
what was
I could
spell.
decipher certain spells and stuff. And I mean, I'll give credit to that DM. He is a great DM. I still stay in contact with him. I'm not gonna lie. There's been at least twice that I can think of during a Saturday game where Nacho coming in with the raid. Thank you.
Hey,
Um,
Nacho!
There has been a couple of times where in the middle of a Saturday session game while we're playing, I have pulled out my phone. Hi, Kirsten. Facebook messaged him and been like, "Hey, dude, my party just threw this at me, and I'm stumped. What do I do?" So, you know, there's definitely some love for that DM there, and he made that one of the best experiences ever. You know, the randomness of the the randomness of the spells, the fact that he made me jump through the extra hoops of, you know, learning the other languages, things like that. It made it a truly great experience.
That's always a nice thing to have too. Like it having a good DM kind of it makes things a lot nicer, especially if they're a good storyteller too, because that's also the other aspect of D&D that a lot of people forget is the role play, the storytelling, telling a story.
Yeah.
So it's always nice to have.
And that's one thing I've got to say I'm very thankful for is as a DM as a whole, I've been blessed with a lot of roleplay heavy characters. Obviously, not every player I have is roleplay heavy, but overall, every party that I've ran has had at least a couple people in it that are super hard into the roleplay, that bring the others into that role-playing aspect and make them enjoy that as well. And it makes it so much more entertaining for me because, I mean, as fun as combat is, at the end of the day, you're just throwing dice and calling out what happens. You know,
Pretty much.
a lot of
With some
the
flavor.
yeah, a lot of the random fun of D&D for me is the roleplay, seeing how you guys interact with the other people, or creatures in the sense of dragons that are disguised as shopkeepers that you befriend in the middle of a town, not looking at
stuck in a necklace.
Not looking at certain party members. But
Hi there.
It's always X. Like it's always him. Come on.
I do things.
It won't always be him,
I mean,
or at least just him.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm relatively responsible as a rogue. Okay, like let's just be honest here.
This is true. I mean, okay, our game has been going for almost a year. He's only robbed one store.
Yeah, but you know,
He's welcome.
And
Thank
it
you.
only went south because
No, it didn't.
fucking
It didn't go south at
Nacho.
all.
I mean, yes and no.
It got
Like,
fixed real quick.
Okay,
It
so
did.
then let's take a look at our last session next, okay? Let's talk about that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
What's up?
What the fuck, man?
What?
I ain't done nothing.
Tremor, I completely agree with that. So he just brought up the rules on how XP is given for roleplay versus combat encounters. You'd want to tweak it to give more incentive to not just hit things. I
Yep.
Yes.
completely agree with that, and I honestly reward roleplay. I mean, hell, you
Pacifist
guys,
There
dude,
we go.
if you play a pacifist and roleplay it well, hands down, you will be the same level, if not higher level, than the party.
I
Mhm.
love roleplay. Like it's such a good. I'm a huge storyteller, so like
Mhm.
I love doing that kind of thing. So having roleplay aspect, like if it's just combat, I'm sorry, I'm bored, I'm done.
Mhm.
I don't really want to continue. But the roleplay, the storytelling, it's
And
great.
That's why I do my damnedest to Gnome. I do my damnedest to balance roleplay and combat.
Mhm.
And I know on the Saturday game it's been very lacking, but I try to get a lot of puzzles in. It just sucks because
Mhm.
unfortunately, through the story that you guys have been running with our Saturday game, there hasn't been too many chances for me to get you guys into those like puzzle situations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but like, you know, most of it has been roleplay based solutions to get through the obstacles. And you know, obviously we had the runes inside the Temple of the Old Gods that you guys had to figure out.
Mhm.
And
That was fun. That
Yeah.
was a good
That was
one.
a lot of fun.
and I would love like to make it that theoretically every adventure could be completed. Yeah, exactly, and that's a huge thing. No, is there should be a way to get around everything without combat. Now that being said,
Mhm.
I do strongly agree that combat has a place.
It does.
Without combat and like strictly role playing, there's going to be the other side of the table that gets bored. There are certain players. My son is one of them. You guys have seen on my Friday sessions before they ended, and you will see coming up. When it's not combat, his interest level plummets, and I get it. The role playing's not his thing. I don't fault him for it. He does good at sitting there being bored until we're like, "Hey, start throwing dice and kill things." That's what
and
he's there
also
for.
younger too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
they're
is
more
true.
So he
interested in the
hasn't-
combat.
He has more creativity in his head than he knows.
He just doesn't know how to
hasn't figured
channel
out
it
how
yet.
to use it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure. But yeah, so combat definitely has its place at the table. But I feel like realistically, if I had to choose between combat or roleplay hands down every time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do really want to work on getting some more puzzles type things in for you guys. And I feel really bad because you guys are going to get to see some of the puzzle type stuff that my IRL table does. I 3D printed, this was before I started streaming. They got trapped in a wizard's tower, and I 3D printed mine puzzles that all of them had to figure out before they could escape the tower and yada yada. And I plan on doing that type of stuff again. And I wish I could do something that cool with you guys, but I mean, it'd just be way too hard to get it to you
Distance
guys.
makes it hard.
Yeah.
So hey Shrub, when are you moving out of California into Oregon?
I tried once. I tried hard. I lived there for 4 months. Ironically,
Maybe
like
Southern Oregon.
I mean, dude, I lived like 20 miles from you. I lived in Newburgh.
I didn't know this at the time.
It's because I didn't know you at the time, but yes, Trimmer, exactly. At the end of the day, it's about the party and the DM having fun, and that is one thing. I know I'm gonna sound biased because Shrub the DM, I am a DM, but I hate when DMs are like, it doesn't matter if I enjoyed it, I just want my players to have fun. No, dude, it's a game for everybody. If the DM's not having a good time, it's gonna
The
bring
player
down the whole
probably won't.
table. And after too many sessions of not having a good time as a DM, you're gonna burn out. That's just all there is to it. And I mean, and I've faced it myself. I hate to say it, that's why the Tuesday game kind of got rushed. I was
Mhm.
no longer enjoying the campaign as much. Through various things, I'm not going to throw anybody under the
I
bus,
was
but through
about to say there was other reasons why, but
through
But at the
through-
end of the day, nobody was really having the amount of fun they probably should have.
Yeah,
been having.
exactly. The whole campaign started to really fizzle out. So I just rushed it to the end so that we could call it closed and not leave it as just an open book.
Mhm.
But I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I put very little effort into the last few sessions of my Tuesday night game, and that's part of why I'm taking so long before I start my new one. I did not want to just slam myself with a bunch of work. I wanted to slowly, gradually build it up, get some things ready, have a lot of it fleshed out for the first few sessions so that I know I can spend the first couple of sessions just focused on the individual session and making sure it's fun for everybody.
Well, that and you still have the Saturday game to worry about too. Like you still have other sessions going on that you're
Mhm.
like doing
Yes.
at the same time. So it's like, why jump into something else when you can take
Yeah.
a step back, build your situation,
Mhm.
take your time, make sure it's what you want and what they're gonna want.
Plus,
Like-
with trying to get this podcast off the ground, this is something I plan on doing fairly regularly. I've got the one shot set up. It's all fleshed out. I just have to pick a time to do it. It's 100% built at this point. So there's a lot of other stuff I've been doing for the channel and for D&D stuff. Also, my printer is about to light on fire because I have about 5 gigabytes of different models that are getting printed here soon. I'm waiting on some PLA to come in because all I have right now is ABS, and that's A, it's too expensive to use for minis, and B, just my printer doesn't like the ABS as much. But yeah, I plan on printing out a lot because the new table game will not be ran on that TV. It is going to be 100% 3D printed terrains.
Which is
The
great
base
for
ground
IRL.
itself, yeah, the base ground itself will be a dry erase map. But trees, bushes, ruined walls, all of that.
And the other thing.
Yeah. I figure not only is it going to be cool for the IRL guys, but it'll make it to where I can show much better what's going on for the
Mhm.
stream as well. Because looking down at that map, you could see the pretty colors on the TV, but the players were just black blobs. The monsters were black blobs. Anything I
Yeah.
put on the TV, you couldn't see. So, I'm going to try to find a new way to set up the camera to where you can really see the map a little better. And hopefully get that going soon. So, yeah, anyway, real quick, gonna throw this out there, excuse me, to all of the people that came in with the raid, all of our new guests joining us. This is a overall D&D podcast. It is 100% chat influenced. Well, I can't say 100%. We've done a lot too, but we completely welcome the chat influence. There's a $20 or 20, not $20, 20 channel point.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's $20 to ask a question, guys. We're expensive around here. No, 20 channel points. You guys can suggest a topic. We're open to pretty much anything. We've covered a lot, but I mean, a lot of you guys just came in. Anyway, a lot of you guys just came in and missed the beginning parts of that. So if you guys have other questions that don't pertain to the noises in the background of my room, feel free to ask. Agent, you linked up the Discord for me. Thank you, guys. Check out the Discord. We're going to be starting up the one shot soon. I'm going to try to set up. Originally, it was going to be the first Sunday of every month. I'm going to try to set up a floating one shot to where I do probably 2 one shots a month. One on a weekend, one on a weekday. Because I know certain people, like Agent, for example, the weekends don't work. And I want to make it, yeah, well, yeah. And I want to make it something that's open for everybody. I want to try to get everybody in on it. New players are always welcome in those and will actually have preference over my veteran players. And then, I mean, just hang out. We have tons of D&D memes popping up all the time and car crap popping up all the time because I'm a mechanic and need somewhere to share it. Don't like Facebook. And it's just a cool community. We all chill, hang out, talk BS about D&D stuff. Do you guys have any topics you wanted covered that you feel like have not been brought up yet? We're getting into like the last 10-15 minutes of the podcast, so I'd like to kind of ask if there's anything you guys want to talk
That
about.
I can think of. Yeah, I feel like we've covered like a good bare basic level of things.
Mhm.
And a lot of thought-provoking ones as well. So it was really nice to actually like take a moment to think, okay, what would I change? Or, oh, I forgot about this memory I had. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like we've hit a lot of good points tonight. So I'm very, very happy about it.
I have one question
Same.
for you guys.
Mhm.
What's one class that you haven't played very much that you really, really want to play?
That's tough for me because as a DM, I've kind of played all of them repeatedly.
Mhm.
No way.
What's the class that you want to get better with the most?
I personally feel like monks. I want to try monks more often because I think they're extremely OP when you actually like read them. I don't like reading, so I do. No, I do. It's just some of it's a little bit complicated. So like it kind of goes over my head because I'm a simple person. I'm like, if I can hit it, does it do damage? Cool, I'm good. So I
Yeah.
think the monk, especially with like multi-hit stuff like that, I think that is something I really want to explore more.
Agent?
Eldritch Blast.
The warlocks.
Yeah, no, like Terminator said, Warlock. It's seeing Travis
fun.
play it and see how Travis did it,
Yeah.
like going off of Critical Role, like that's been a lot of like the major, like huge influence for me to get into D&D so, like recently, because like I said in the beginning, I'm a D&D baby, so I'm like seeing how they do their things, and like a lot of their stuff is homebrewed, not like completely Wizards of the Coast, but it's also the core mechanics of D&D 5e.
Mhm.
So it's like the Warlock is really nice because like the story that he gets of like Ukatoa and like it's just really cool. Like it's a really cool concept, and
Warlocks are great to play. Like they really are. I'm having fun with Cetera.
The whole patron aspect is really cool.
Mhm.
Yes, I can agree with it. It
'Cause
was new, but it was fun.
I think the coolest thing about the whole, having that patron or whatever you want to call it, it gives the DM a lot of freedom.
Yes.
It gives the DM so much power.
So, real quick, side note on that one. When Shrubette first started playing the Tuesday campaign, she played a warlock, not a bard.
Oh.
And she ended up not enjoying it much, so we changed her character. But I was putting in this whole arc of her. She didn't know who her patron was. Her patron kind of forced her hand, kind of tricked her into the deal, and was like, carrot and stick type thing. Here's a little reward. Now I'm gonna beat you into submission. And and she actually one night was on watch for the party, and her patron appeared in the fires of the campfire and ordered her to destroy pages in a book of lore that the wizard carried because it had information about her that she didn't want the world to know.
That's great. I love it.
And she succeeded in all of her stealth rolls, and the wizard kind of forgot about his book of lore, so he only read through it a few times, so he never even discovered the pages were ripped out. We ended that campaign without him ever finding out that his book had been tampered.
knowing it
Yeah.
for her.
So,
Wow.
so that was kind of wild. But to answer your question, X, ironically, Rogue would be the class that I've probably dabbled with the least. Simply because, as a DM, most of the time when I'm being a player or when I get to control a character, it's as an NPC that kind of assists the party. And not only do I almost always have a roguelike character that one of the players is running, but on top of that, usually if they need some sort of assistance, they need the tanky brute or the spellcaster or the healer.
Yeah.
It's the rogue is just not really one that, like, when they're needed, it's absolutely needed, but they're not needed as often.
Yeah.
Because a scout's always useful, but it's not always necessary, I guess would be the best way to put it.
No, it's true. I can see where you're coming from.
Yeah. So I've never really had to mess with rogues that often. I have played them a couple of times, but I myself have never ran one for any extended period. So that would probably be the one if I was to pick one I'm interested in trying. It'd be that one.
Cool.
X.
Brian.
Yeah. What's yours?
Part of me wants to say Warlock, but I feel like that might just be like me wanting to be one of the cool kids.
It's a great
clearly
concept
the cool
class.
kids.
Like,
No, yeah, I think Warlock playing so my issue is that I never play a charisma based character, but I always want to be the smooth talker in the conversations. So I feel like I'd really enjoy that aspect of a Warlock. if not a warlock, then I feel like sorcerer and wizard. I have never really given it a real good shot
A good college
because
try.
I'm always scared. Yeah, I'm always scared of being the glass cannon and just getting smacked around like a rag doll.
No, you
So-
do. I.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
you get hit once and you're just like, hell, my
everything
HP.
is ow.
it's hard.
It appears my spine is made out of pain. Yeah,
I didn't realize that bent that way.
that is definitely the downside to wizards. The biggest thing at that point, stick to your party and make sure you're really good friends with somebody who's got armor.
Kills.
Dang.
Oh, yeah.
Because like I'll be honest, when I played as Brennan, it was me, my wife, and my son that were all players, and then we had 2 other people that were just some randoms that got added that we found, you know.
Yeah.
I was not buddy with my wife or my son. Georgia was playing, I think she played a druid, and Aiden played a barbarian, which, but he was like bloodlust, typical barbarian, you know, run in, fight, and yada yada.
Yeah, kill everything.
I made friends with a guy named Christian because he was a paladin that used sword and shield and took the protection feat. And I was like, you my friend.
Yup.
You
And-
my shield.
Yeah, and like they all thought I was nuts because we get into a fight and instead of staying way in the back, I'd get like kind of close. But it's because
Yep.
I knew I was close enough that if something targeted me, he could use his reaction to protect me.
Yep.
Fair.
It's what, 60 or 30?
Probably 30.
It was 30, I think, for
Yeah.
that.
Because if it was 60, he could be safely in the back line and
I
not
was
have to
gonna say
worry about
60
it.
feels like way too much.
Yeah. In fact, I think a couple of his abilities were only 15, to be honest. And technically, the aura is only 10, but the aura is also, lower level aura is strength, which is something as a wizard I didn't need, so I didn't care about being in the aura.
Like, I don't need that. I
Yeah.
just need protections.
But that's where that homebrew class that we kind of talked about earlier comes into play, though. I really want to see that, like I said, I called them the sheepdog, but I want to see
Yep.
that protection-based class come into play because there's just so much potential for a class that's job is to intercept and protect the team.
100%.
I feel like that is the one thing that D&D is sorely missing is a designated tank role. And I understand that, free will of the DM, there's no way to completely control aggro. I get that, and that's why I feel like they never tried to make a proper tank. But druids, they're tanks in the sense that they can take a hit and keep going. I mean, there are some that fill the role decently. I mean, a battle master fighter has
Yeah.
plenty of abilities that can, cause the protection and yada yada. But
I don't think there's truly one with enough, like, CC, protection, maybe a bit of heals. Like, very,
See,
very minuscule.
I went almost no. Actually, I don't think there's any heals.
Because
Oh, wow.
yours is all, look at me, not
yeah, like
anybody
pulling
else.
aggro.
Yeah,
I
it's-
want your
yeah.
attention.
It's that and a lot of reaction-based abilities to intercept damage.
Like,
That makes
oh,
sense.
you're swinging at him? No, you're going to hit me.
Yeah, like there's a lot of reaction-based abilities to step in front of and take the hit, which means you're getting hit, but to counteract that, they also have that D12 hit die, and this is the part I'm worried might be a little unfair, but I start them in starting gear with plate mail. So they have
I mean,
okay.
that
They
makes
have-
sense, though.
Huh.
Yeah. So they, as a starting character, you have an armor class that's, touching the 20s.
They're
Yeah.
essentially a hired bodyguard at that point.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, damage
'cause
output.
what they used to do in their background was like, I was a private contracting bodyguard or something, and then
Yeah. Because damage output, base weapon. I don't think I put a single offensive ability in them at all.
Wow.
They get to swing their sword and that's it. But on the flip side, they get to make sure that nothing happens to their party. And that's one thing I think D&D really needed. Is the class I made the perfect fit? No, and I don't even know if it's fucking balanced yet. But I feel like it's something that would greatly benefit 5th edition.
Mm-hmm.
So, however, with that, we have crossed over our 3-hour mark. I know that we did have some technical difficulties, so all in all, it was a bit of a shorter episode. It wasn't just
It's
you.
not your fault.
Yeah, it wasn't just you. When you had your computer issue, I had some IRL issues happen here too, so we just threw it back to the intro screen. So it all worked out. It's fine. However, like I said, I plan on doing this at least once a month, probably twice a month. I don't know if it'll always be Tuesday. I don't know a lot of things about it yet, but it's definitely something I want to do more. Yeah.
It's an ongoing work in progress that Shrub will hopefully post a little bit further ahead of time next time for everybody else.
Maybe, possibly,
That
hopefully.
Maybe, possibly,
We shall
hopefully, yeah.
see.
Realistically, you guys should expect to hear from me like the day of the stream. That's usually what it is. Yeah. Hey, you free in like 3 minutes? Cause
booked you on this show.
Work for the cast. Let's go.
Let me clear my schedule. Okay, leagues out of the way.
But yeah, definitely something I want to do more often. Not only was it fun to just sit here and have this discussion with you guys, but I think, using future episodes to dive into the specifics of certain mechanics, explain how certain things work. I feel like we could turn this into something informative.
In a sense.
Informative, educational, entertaining, and at the same time, hearing all these personal experiences you guys had with your different characters and your different DMs and things like that, pulling that in shows the community how diverse everything can be, and how something small and simple like a pen and paper game can truly be a fun and impactful thing in our lives.
Very much so.
And I mean, like I said before, I truly love D&D. It has consumed a lot more of my life than I'd like to admit, to be honest. But at the same time, I have no intentions of slowing down.
I don't blame you one bit.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a fantastical world.
To the point where, George and I are trying to buy a house, and one of our sticklers right now is a D&D room. We want
just in a separate room.
Yeah, we want a designated area to set up D&D, whether it be its own room, a sectioned off part of a family room or living room, what have you. We want a designated D&D area because of how much we both love it. So, it's been a great thing. I'm going to see if there's anybody playing Dungeons & Dragons right now, which it's a little late, so let's find out.
Tad, just Tad.
Well, actually, there's quite a few live channels. Let's see. This is one I have not raided into before, so let's go check this one out. Let's see if I can do this. There we go. So we're gonna go in here, guys. Drop some 20s, hang out, give them a follow, enjoy their stream. We will be back this Saturday with our typical Adventures of Falrune, which both X and Tavi are in. Agent is 99.9% of the time in chat. There is a cat climbing to the very top of my closet.
I see that.
Yeah, that's a cat right there. That's a leg. Anyway, until next time, guys, keep rolling those 20s.
Bye.
Later.
We're out.
And
right?
yeah, we're clear.